In 1687, a reclusive English mathematician publishes a single text that rewrites human understanding of the physical universe. His name is Sir Isaac Newton. Working in total isolation, he invents calculus, he decodes gravity, he maps the invisible mechanics, holding the solar system in orbit. The world recognizes him as the sharpest intellect alive, a man of ruthless, icy precision who eventually takes over the Royal Mint, tracking down counterfeiters with the cold detachment of a mathematical proof. Yet in the summer of 1720, this master of pure reason walks straight into a financial meat grinder so hollow, so corrupt, and so predatory that it nearly wipes him out to the last shilling. Years later, broken and humbled, he leaves behind a line that still cuts through modern economics. I can calculate the motions of the heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people. What destroys him isn't bad luck. It is the South Sea bubble, history's first multi-trillion-dollar market scam, constructed out of political bribery, mass hysteria, and a company that produces absolutely nothing. To understand how the sharpest mind alive gets liquidated, you have to look at the wreckage of early 18th century Britain. By 1711, decades of grueling continental warfare leave the crown buried under £50 million of national debt, an astronomical sum for the era. The British Treasury is completely dry. The state is on the verge of sovereign default. Then a syndicate of aggressive financiers, led by an operator named John Blunt, walks into Parliament with a scheme that sounds like financial alchemy. They propose a joint stock venture, the South Sea Company. The premise is clean on paper. The company absorbs millions of pounds of Britain's high-interest war debt. In exchange, the Crown grants them an exclusive, perpetual trade monopoly over the entirety of South America. To the average citizen walking the streets of London, it sounds like an infinite goldmine. South America means galleons stacked with silver, untapped mines in Peru, and raw wealth pouring straight into the Thames. Except there is one lethal detail Blunt leaves out of the pitch. Britain doesn't control South America. Spain does. And Spain is Britain's bitter geopolitical rival. Under the existing peace treaties, the Spanish crown permits the South Sea Company to send exactly one modest merchant ship per year and claims 25% of all net profits right off the top. The promised commercial empire isn't just an exaggeration, it is a complete fabrication. The entire enterprise is a ship captain selling first-class tickets to an island of gold, fully aware he owns no fleet and the island is fortified by enemy gunboats. John Blunt doesn't care. He realizes you don't need to extract a single ounce of silver from the Andes to make a fortune. You only need to manufacture belief. You pump the share price, manufacture the momentum, and cash out before anyone checks the vault. This is the blueprint for modern market manipulation. Blunt launches a coordinated psychological campaign. He plants bogus intelligence regarding secret treaties with Madrid. He fabricates reports of massive new silver strikes. He funds decadent banquets for the political class. To ensure zero regulatory friction, he hands out hundreds of thousands of pounds in phantom stock to members of Parliament, high-ranking lords, and the King's own inner circle. The politicians pocket millions without putting up a dime of their own cash. In return, they wrap the state's full institutional credibility around a hollow shell. Enter Isaac Newton. By early 1720, Newton is wealthy, comfortable, and cautious. He watches the South Sea mania consume London's financial district. He isn't blind. He analyzes the company's actual ledgers and knows the underlying fundamentals are absurd. Still, the trend is too clear to ignore. He steps in, buying a heavy block of shares at roughly £175. Over the following weeks, speculative fever hits London's coffee houses, and the price doubles. By April, the stock touches £350. Newton does the disciplined, rational thing. He closes his entire position. He walks away with a £7,000 profit, over $1.5 million in purchasing power today. He beats the market. He takes his chips off the table. He openly declares that he is done playing games with speculative manias. And right there, human psychology drops the hammer on him. The moment Newton exits, the rally doesn't cool off. It goes vertical. The directors roll out a predatory leverage system. They begin issuing paper loans directly to the public, using the company's own inflated stock as collateral. Buyers instantly use that borrowed cash to bid the stock even higher. It becomes a self-fulfilling liquidity spiral. In May, the price breaks £500. By June, it hits £800. By July, it surges past £1,000. London turns completely inside out. Servants, aristocrats, dock workers, and clergymen become paper millionaires overnight. Newton is forced to sit on the sidelines and watch. He sees academic rivals, close acquaintances, and men he considers complete intellectual lightweights pulling 10 times his returns simply because they refused to sell. The toxic weight of fear of missing out begins to grind away at his rational discipline. Every single day, he listens to amateur speculators brag about their instant fortunes while ridiculing anyone who took profits early. He can calculate the gravitational mass of Jupiter, but he cannot stomach the visceral humiliation of being left behind while fools get rich. The fever spreads across the city like an infection. Wild copycat schemes appear overnight. One venture claims it will extract pure silver from Thames seawater. Another promises a perpetual motion engine made of brass gears. The mania hits peak absurdity when an anonymous promoter opens an office on Cornhill Street, advertising a syndicate set up for carrying on an undertaking of great advantage, but nobody knows what it is. He asks for a £2 down payment, promising a guaranteed return of £100 a year, details to follow later. By mid-afternoon, a mob of frantic buyers blocks the street just to push cash into his hands. That night, the promoter packs the bags and disappears into the dark. In the centre of this madness, Isaac Newton's discipline finally fractures. In August 1720, with the stock pinned against its historic high of £1,000, Newton abandons his own scientific principles. Convinced the market will double again to £2,000, he liquidates his safe government paper, empties his accounts, and goes all in. He buys at the absolute statistical peak. The man who unlocked celestial mechanics steps directly off a cliff. Within weeks, basic financial gravity asserts itself. The directors know their operational reality is empty. Seeing the price stall out at £1,000, they recognise the ceiling. There is no more retail liquidity left to absorb the run. John Blunt and his inner circle quietly begin dumping massive personal stakes directly into the open market, converting paper into hard gold. In a hyper-leveraged bubble, you cannot sell in secret. A few sharp market participants catch the volume shift. Murmurs turn into whispers. Whispers trigger a bank run. The exit door is too small for the crowd. The bid simply vanishes. The South Sea stock enters a terminal freefall. In September, it drops from £1,000 to £700. By October, it breaks £400. By December, the market craters to £135, obliterating almost 90% of its total value. The shockwave tears through the British Empire. Prominent families are rendered penniless in weeks. Bankrupt peers are dragged off to debtors' prisons. Disgraced politicians commit suicide in public parks. Inside his London residence, Sir Isaac Newton stares at stacks of worthless paper certificates. In a matter of months, he loses over £20,000, more than $4 million in modern capital. 40 years of rigorous academic savings, government salaries, and royalties wiped out entirely. The political backlash is ferocious. Parliament is forced to seize the books and open an exhaustive public inquiry. What the investigators uncover is an absolute hollow core. Zero commercial fleet, zero revenue from South America, zero legitimate enterprise. The entire structure was a massive mechanism designed solely to siphon capital out of the public and funnel it into the pockets of insiders and corrupt ministers. Emergency laws strip the directors of their personal estates. John Blunt's wealth is seized. Multiple members of Parliament and the Chancellor of the Exchequer are arrested and locked inside the Tower of London. Newton survives the financial ruin, but the psychological damage is permanent. The man who mastered the mathematics of the cosmos is so deeply humiliated by his own emotional collapse that he bans the phrase South Sea from his presence for the remainder of his life. If a colleague or visitor mentions the company, Newton immediately gets up and walks out of the room. Looking back today, it's easy to treat Isaac Newton like a punchline. But here's the real question. How did one of the greatest mathematical minds in human history get completely wrecked by a basic financial bubble? Cognitive science and economics give us two big reasons. Number one, physics is objective. Finance is purely psychological. In physics, an apple falls because of gravity. It doesn't just hover in mid-air because the crowd believes it will. But in the markets, an asset's price has very little to do with its actual value. It's all about perception. And when mass hysteria kicks in, every single math model simply breaks down. Number two, the smarter you are, the worse your overconfidence bias. When geniuses dominate their own fields, they develop a dangerous blind spot. They start to believe their superior intellect applies to everything. But as Charlie Munger once put it, high IQ does not equal good character. In investing, emotional discipline beats raw intelligence every single time. Fast forward 300 years. From the South Sea bubble to tulip mania, the dot-com crash, and today's crypto hype cycles, the assets change, the technology evolves, but the underlying code of human nature, it hasn't changed at all. Right before every single bubble burst, you hear the exact same script. This time is different. It's a revolutionary new paradigm. Buy now or get left behind forever. Newton's loss left us with a multi-million-dollar lesson. In the game of investing, you're never defeated by the complexity of math. You're defeated by your own greed and the suffocating fear of missing out. If the very man who discovered gravity couldn't escape the gravitational pull of a financial crash, then the next time someone pitches you a can't lose opportunity, remember Newton's famous words, "I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people." Thanks for watching. If you found this insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.